Hey everyone, it's Kevin Smith, and I'm here to talk about Season 3 of He-Man! No, I'm just kidding. I love Kevin Smith. I got no problems with Smith. Welcome back once again. It is time to leave our problems behind for a few minutes. To take a break. To pull up a chair to our coffee table and have a sippa, whatever it is that's in your cuppa you're shoving under your nose today, Pally, Sizzle Chest, whomever you are. Pre-recorded live before a studio audience of stuffed animals. We bring to you the Comics Coffee Table, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern daily. We talk about comic books, and you're invited. And it's good to see new faces out there. It's good to see everyone in the live chat at 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern daily. If I'm able to make it, I'm usually getting out of work around that time, and I get to see everyone in the live chat. And I love seeing your comments, and your just keep the comments coming and keep this conversation going, because we've been doing it, you know, all the way back to last year. We used this book right here, The Golden Age of DC Comics, 365 Days. There's a link in the description to the Amazon page. You can get your own copy. One of my best friends gave that to me about 2 decades ago. It's been surfing my coffee table ever since. The very same coffee table we congregate here. You know, my friends have always congregated at the coffee table, and there's always been a stack of movies, a stack of music, a stack of books, and a stack of comic books we'd be trying to turn each other onto and converse about, and it's great to be a comic book fan, and I love it that you're here with us today. And if you love comics as much as we do, you are in the right place at the right time. Part of this show is about, the theme of this show this year is about rebagging, reboarding, and reboxing my entire collection. While I'm doing that, I'm using these 2 books. There are also links to their Amazon pages in the description. The Overstreet Guide to grading comic books and the Overstreet Comic Book Price Guide. These are really great resources. I'm loving these books, and I'm giving myself a further education into a lifelong love of my hobby of collecting these comic books. And it's just, so I'm learning so much. I hope you're learning lots along the way too. If you have questions, throw them in the comments. We'll look it up together and learn all this great stuff together. So my parents gave me these for Christmas, so this season is dedicated to my parents. Thank you so very much. While we're reboarding, reboxing, and rebagging everything, I'm making a point to get my supplies at my local brick-and-mortar mom-and-pop comic book shop. The LCS, the local comic book store. That's right. And I advise you to, too. I mean, I could be picking this up from my online supply chain. You know, the one with the free shipping and the free movie channel. But how is that going to help keep my local comic book shop alive and open? You know, the direct market is changing. Floppies, as we know it, might be changing. We don't know. The future is uncertain. But comics seems to have endured. It's just, it being a superhero fan of these big 2, and then everything else that fans out after that. And it's a great excuse just to meet up once a day and talk about comic books. Yeah. What are we doing? So yeah, I'm getting short boxes instead of long boxes. And because they get heavy, and they get heavier the older I get. I'm getting bags, and I get acid-free boards. Yeah, and that's what we're doing today. We're just going to everything. We're just going to talk about Batman and board, basically everything we've been talking about. I have so many. I gotta put these away. I mean, we have bags, we have boards, we have boxes. We have funny books. We have each other. We've got this great conversation. Let's start. I'm going to recycle these bags because they're okay. Why not? I mean, Are these the Mylars that I should be getting? I'm going to experience Mylar sooner or later. And I'll be like, oh, the look, the feel of Mylar, the fabric of our bag. Yeah, let's just get to it. Start putting in the box. And we've bagged, boarded, and boxed. We are living up to the billing of the show. Shiny side to its back. And here comes the anal retentive nature of the comic book fan. See, this comic book was facing the wrong direction. Let's look for dings while we have her out. Oh my goodness! Ding, 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 ding. All those spine roll. Holy spine roll, Batman! Taking away from the overall value of this funny book. But it's in great condition nonetheless. The pages are great. The corners are sharp. And, yeah. Ooh, and see, I love it. See, it's got the reference within the reference. They talk about pop art. And also, Grant Morrison defines this, these episodes of pop crime. Like the Joker or the Riddler. And the masked vigilantes who combat them. And this, like, continuing evolution of the superhero and the superhero world and the savviness of the audiences. Here we go. Is Gotham's interesting, huh? So is Batman. I mean, I grew up with Batman. Chances are you did as well. And but as we said yesterday in the Frank Miller, going over the Frank Miller stuff, let's look at those ads real quick, huh? When Damian meets Robin. Seriously. Of course, they get into a fight. Because it's the first time we see and this is how father and son, first get along. And he's a brat. He's unlikable. That's the whole point of Damian. He's supposed to be a bit unlikable. And he's a killer. But he's a 10-year-old kid. And he's been trained by assassins all his life. And look at that. He took the head of his enemy. Because that's how he was trained. And of course, Tim Drake is not the toughest Robin. But I will say he is the smartest. And this is the first appearance of Damian as Robin. It's true. I think this is worth about $8 or so. Well, let's look it up in the book. That's what the book is for, right? We were just at this page the other day. But yeah, that's the first time we ever see Damian Wayne dressed up like Robin. Is when he beats Tim Drake, and he feels like he's earned the mantle to be his father's sidekick. That's Batman 657. A near mint copy of this is worth $28, a 9.2. A very fine, an 8.4, which this might be, is worth $18, $15. A very fine 8.0. It's worth $15. There's only a little bit of spine roll to this. I mean, this is a beautiful magazine. The corners are pristine. And the cover, that there's only one little dingage in the corner there. It's beautiful. Yeah. And so these are the ones that have got the world's eye. Great art by Andy Kubert. His dad was Joe Kubert, founder of the Joe Kubert School of Design and Cartooning. It's gone, it's now known as the Kubert School. So, my Batman. Who is my favorite Batman? I don't have one. I don't want to have a favorite Batman. Batman's a spectrum. Batman is inevitably Bruce Wayne. Yet there's room, because there's Terry McGinnis, too. And he didn't come around until, what, 1999? 1997, 1999? Terry McGinnis was... Batman Beyond was a great interpretation of the property and the legacy of it, too. And insular to its own universe as well. Countdown. Yes. The countdown to Final Crisis has begun. And this is like the Grant Morrisons. Like, these are the... we're bagging and boarding and boxing. The Grant Morrison years. 7 of them. 7 long... That's amazing. He did 4 years over at New X-Men. So, see, Grant Morrison is the kind of writer that you used to be able to give the keys to the kingdom to. And be like, here. Just, like, don't break the, don't break the action figures. You know what I mean? Here you go. But, yeah, I grew up with Batman. I grew up, the Super Friends. With the not the Funimation, but the, there was a cartoon. Yeah, it was Funimation. Yeah, I'm thinking something else. Yep, see, this is flipped, so put it in the right ways. Batman 666. There's a Grant Morrison issue that's all text. It's like 3 issues worth of story, and it's just all prose with very few instances of art. Wow, is it the board not fitting in the bag? Let's try this again. Maybe you need just a new bag. That's easy. And my Batman growing up was... a little dingage there in that corner. I can see that. You can too. Yeah, huh? But this is a well-loved comic book. I've read this a few dozen times. Direct sales. Yeah, the all text issue that was mind blowing. It was so good, and it sets up the Batman as Zur-Nar too. Yeah, and then he changes artists here. And the good thing about these are they're 3-issue stories, and they're very so they're done like 3-act stories. Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. This turns out to be the Black Glove versus the Club of Heroes, which will eventually spin out to be Batman Incorporated. And like I said, this is fun stuff. So my Batman was his voice actor was someone named Ulan Soule, and he was paired with Robin, who was voiced by Casey Kasem, of whom was a very famous radio personality and disc jockey. And he would also did many other comic book voices, such as Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. Yeah, if they need a new bag, they deserve a new bag. That's it. You know? And we don't make mistakes here with our comic books. We have happy reunions. I'm ripping off Bob Ross. You have called me on that one. I want to be the Bob Ross of comic book YouTubers. That's my goal. Did we spend some time together talking about comic books? Here's J.H. Williams the third, great artist. What? You want to look at it real quick? Sure. Okay, let's look at this comic book. Oh, it's got a little bit of a bend, but that's okay. I mean, I should have had it board this entire time. It did the covers. But look at this panel. Look at this. Look at the panel progression. I mean, this is J.H. Williams' art. He did a lot with Greg Rucka and that first volume of Batwoman. That was some really good issues. Then J.H. Williams Jr. himself was the writer-artist of that. So they started using like these digital filters with that that Ben. This is what I'm talking about. The Ben-Day dot filter. It's not real Ben-Day dots contributing color to its image. It's finished art with a filter that's supposed to, what's the caption say? 8 years ago. So it's supposed to be a nostalgic. So this is supposed to be like, these are all evocative of Silver Age comics right here, and especially with the color. You see all of that design in the background, and that evokes the feeling of nostalgia and of the Ben-Day dots that were used to color pages before we got into the 21st century and the printing techniques and the digital coloring. And but yeah, J.H. Williams III, great panel design. Remember, sequential art. The story leaps from panel to panel to panel, and here we have the beginnings of Batman Incorporated, with all the different Batmen of the world, this club of heroes, being assembled and picked off one by one. It's a detective story. It really is, and it's some of the best modern Batman stories. So, with James Gunn signaling to everyone, like, hey, these are the Batman stories in our IP that we're going to adapt. Here's a heads up. You might want to see into getting these. Yeah, it's a great comic books. Then came the mini Bat Bat event. This one spread over how many Bat titles were there? There was Robin, there was Batgirl, there was Birds of Prey, there was Detective Comics too. So at least you're going to get like a new chapter and a mini crossover every week, which is great. I mean, because Batman's a great place to have a crossover because you have a family of titles. X-Men does that as well. X-Men used to have just one title, Uncanny X-Men. It became Uncanny X-Men, I believe, at issue 142, 143. Before that, it was just X-Men. But that's X-Men Volume 1, Uncanny X-Men. And then came X-Men Volume 2, number 1. Chris Claremont, Jim Lee in 1992? That the breaker that broke that's like heralding the end of the Copper Age with that image in Vertigo. So comes the resurrection of Ra's al Ghul, and look at him. We love the ads. Come on, look at this ad. Who is this ad aimed at? I mean, like, when was this made? Did you love the first Transformers movie? Look, it's Megan Fox and Shia LaBeouf. You remember these wacky kids? And then finding Bumblebee, looking nothing like the toy I grew up with. That's okay. They got Peter Cullen to voice Optimus Prime. I mean, lots of people love those Michael Bay movies. I, for one, cared less for them. It was, it wasn't made for me. No. But I had Adam West in the Batman '66 show. I had the Funimation TV cartoons, and with Olin Soule and Casey Kasem, which became there was the New Adventures of Batman and Batmite as well. That played on CBS, while on ABC they had Super Friends. I believe that's how it went. Look, Countdown to Final Crisis number 22. See, I believe in that last 2 weeks of this weekly that they were doing called Countdown to Final Crisis. It became Countdown to Final Crisis only like after a certain point, like after week 20 or something, in the countdown part of it. The countdown part of it. What are you going on about? Yeah, and then we get Tony Daniel. Oh wow, this Tony Daniel art is smashing. It's so good. Let's see. Let's get a good example. There are three evil Batmen out there, pretend Batmen, and it was like, and this is all based in some Silver Age stories, and Hugo Strange, I think. I mean, this is like old showing Grant Morrison's encyclopedic knowledge of Batman and his characters. So yeah, I like to say, sorry if this sounds repetitive, but I like saying something like this because Batman had a huge impact on me. Like, that used to be my work belt buckle. It's now the bat signal in the sky of the Gotham skyline. Because there is the bat signal there. It's a little toy prop bat signal. I got a backup one in case the battery fails. I couldn't get the battery thing open, so it's just cheap to buy a new one. Yeah, some good stuff. Yeah, Tony Daniel had really tight art. So yeah, Batman had a huge impact on my life. So I grew up, my uncle would pick me up as a kid and would drive, go for a ride or something in his car, or he'd take me somewhere. He would have the day with me, you know what I mean? And he would, he'll still call me up to this day and be like, "I saw Batman and I thought of you, kid." And because he was Batman and I was Robin, and that's like, you get up. That's when we had like really cool kid sidekicks you can count on for kids to feel part of the world, and so that's how that was like my way into the world, to be able to play in it, that I was Robin in my own in my own mind, it's just, that's a kid way to think. That's it. No. Oh, this one's pretty cool too. Oh, look at that. Great. This is Ryan Benjamin's art. That's really good, super heroic stuff. These are the 10-fingered. They have an eye on each one of their fingers spiritually, and Bruce learned how to fight from them. So yeah. So what I mean to say is, like, professionally, like being a chef, I've always identified with Batman. Now I'm getting a lot older than who Batman is in the comic books. Batman is eternally 30-something. Works best that way. So as I was a younger chef in my 30s, I had this like really sense of pride of having Robins and Batgirls, and in a way, and that younger chefs to mentor and to show this life of the war against the war of nutrition. And so I've always felt like Batman, because Batman also, beyond the whole scary, gruesome aspect, like I'm saying, I had a Batman before Dark Knight. And so I had a Batman who smiled, a Batman who was a friend, and a Batman who was a great mentor to young people. And that's part of the gig, to be a chef, to be a good chef and to be a leader. When you're a chef, you're a leader. When you're a cook, you show up to work. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to, not judging. That's just how I learned in kitchens. So to mentor young people, and to, we wear funny clothes and shoes and a funny hat and an apron, which is kind of like a backwards cape. We have batarangs and bat cables and bat devices from our utility belt, which are our chef kits and our knife kits and our tool kits. Batman always has the right tool for the right job. Well, when you're a chef, you need the right tool for the right job as well. Like a melon baller or a paring knife or a boning knife, or you know what I mean. You just can't, you can't use a meat cleaver on everything. It is literally that metaphor. When the whirl is a nail, or when all you have is a hammer, all you can use is, when you're, what I'm trying to get at, right? Like that metaphor of, like, if you treat all your problems like a hammer and a nail, you know what I mean? You got to have more than just a hammer. in your toolbox, and that's Batman's utility belt, and that's our chef kit, or even a construction worker's toolbox, and Batman's kind of like the patron saint of tradesmen, and he like teaches me how to to be cool under fire, and also know when to show some show a little anger. You know what I mean? There's a time and a place to get fired up, but it also you have young people around you accepting your standard and your leadership, and we end up being a team, and we end up all learning from each other, and having a skill set and a muscle memory and an accumulation of knife. So Batman for me has been a holistic model at work for being a chef for at least the better part of 30 years. That's my Batman story, and we've just been rebagging. We're reboarding my Batman collection here because some of these bags are okay. Some of them aren't, and those are going. And thank you so very much for tuning in today. God bless. Namaste. Good luck. We will see you again tomorrow in those funny pages. You've been spending time at the Comics Coffee Table. Pull up a chair, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern daily. Take a break with us and just hang out and shoot the shit and talk about comic books for a couple of minutes and every day. And join us. Please, you are welcome here in the live chat, in the comments. Keep the conversation going. Thank you so very much. Cheers.